I don't know why I felt so uneasy that night. It was one of those gut-deep feelings that scream something's wrong, but you can't pin it down. I've been driving for 6 hours straight, weaving through endless back roads. My eyes were blurry, my head stuffed with fog. Just when I was telling myself I needed to pull over, I spotted an old sign by the roadside. Sunset in. The paint was peeling, the letters barely legible under the moonlight. I thought, this'll do. I just need a crash. I pulled up. The night air was cold, like a stranger's breath on your neck. The motel was a squat 2-story building, its walls chipped and weathered, like it hadn't been touched in decades. The front door creaked open with a groan. Inside, a man stood behind the check-in desk. Old, pale, with sunken eyes that looked like they hadn't seen sleep in years. He didn't even glance up. Room 127, he mumbled. Into the hall, left side. Cash only. There was something in his tone. Not anger, not boredom. A kind of forced compliance, like he was reciting lines he didn't want to say. My brain was too fried to dwell on it. He slid a heavy metal key across the counter, the number 127 etched on a rusted tag. I slapped down the cash, grabbed the key, and headed for the stairs. The second-floor hallway was narrow, lined with faded, musty carpet that crunched underfoot. The air smelled of damp and mildew, like an old basement. The ceiling bulbs cast a sickly yellow glow, and my shadow on the wall seemed to lag a step behind me. The silence was oppressive, the kind that rings in your ears. Every door was shut tight, except one, 127. Into the hall, left side. The door stuck. I gave a hard shove, and it opened with a metallic scrape. The room was standard, single bed with threadbare sheets, a wooden desk that looked carved from soggy timber, and a large mirror on the opposite wall. But something, I couldn't place it. The air felt heavy, like there wasn't enough oxygen. There was a window, but thick curtains blocked out the moonlight. I pulled them shut, flicked off the light, and collapsed onto the bed. The mattress reeked of old fabric, but exhaustion won out. Around 3 a.m., I woke up, not because of a sound or a light, just a feeling like someone was staring at me from inches away. I opened my eyes. Pitch black. Then it came. Tap, tap, tap. From behind the mirror. At first, I thought it was my imagination. Fatigue, a trick of the mind. But it came again. Tap, tap, tap. Clearer, like someone rapping their nails on glass. My heart kicked into gear. I stumbled out of bed, grabbed my phone, and shone its light at the mirror. Nothing. Just my reflection, red-eyed, hair mess. But in the middle of the glass was a fingerprint. Fresh, wet, like someone had just pressed it from the other side. My breath caught. I thought maybe it was mine, but no, I hadn't touched the mirror. I leaned closer with the phone's light. The print was bigger than mine, rough, like it came from a calloused hand. Right then, the room's power cut out. The darkness came alive, coiling around me. I spun toward the door, and the desk clerk was there, standing in the middle of the room, silent, like a shadow rising from the floor. His sunken eyes glinted in the dark. His voice was low, echoing like it came from a cave. That room shouldn't have been given to you. It's been locked for years. My tongue stuck to the roof of my mouth. I snapped. You gave me the key. He smiled, a cold, lifeless smirk. I haven't left the desk all night. A chill stabbed down my spine, like an icy hand gripping my bones. I lunged for the door, my hand on the knob, but there was no door, just a wall. Brick, smooth, freezing, like there'd never been a door at all. I turned back to the man, but he was gone. Nothing but darkness and the sound of my own ragged breathing. I fumbled for my phone, sweeping its light around the room. The mirror was still there, but now something moved in it. Not my reflection, a blurry shadow, like a human shape getting closer from deep inside the glass. Tap, tap, tap started again, faster, like a racing pulse. Then a whisper. Not words, not sentences, just a low, garbled hum, like someone muttering in their sleep. My phone's light died. Not the battery, something shut it off. In the dark, a scraping sound began, not from the mirror, but the walls, like something was closing in from all sides. My breathing sped up, but each gulp of air felt thinner, like the room was starving me. The walls seemed to press closer, the space shrinking. Then, a faint glow seeped through the window. Moonlight, sneaking past the curtains. With shaking hands, I yanked them open. Outside, there was nothing. No road, no trees, no sky. Just a void, a black wall stretching forever. But in that blackness, I saw eyes. Not clear, not close. Just two white pinpricks, staring. I turned back to the mirror. The shadow was sharper now. A man, tall, shoulders hunched. His face. God. His face looked melted, like wax under heat. His hand pressed against the glass. New fingerprints smearing across it, like breath fogging a window. The whispering grew louder, and I caught one word. Come. I don't know how, but I threw myself at the brick wall. I pounded, kicked, screamed, as if breaking it would free me from this nightmare. I don't know how long it went on, but at some point, the wall felt soft like fabric. One more shove, and I tumbled into the hallway. The same hotel hallway, but colder, darker. I sprinted for the stairs, half falling down them, and made it to the front door. The night air hit me, still cold, but the road was there. My car was there. I jumped in, turned the key, and drove as far as I could. I didn't look in the rearview mirror. I didn't want to see what might be following. By morning, I stopped at a gas station. I finally dared to check my phone. There was a photo in my gallery I hadn't taken. It was me, asleep on the bed in room 127, with a hunched shadow looming over me. Below it, a text from an unknown number. Next time, don't break the mirror. Since that night, I feel a shadow trailing me wherever I go. Not always, but sometimes. And every time I look in a mirror, for just a moment, I see a fresh fingerprint. Something's still trapped in that room, and it's looking for me. I swear, if I hadn't taken that detour off the main road that night, I'd never have stepped into this nightmare. It all started with a simple alert. I was driving through pouring rain, wipers barely keeping up, when my phone pinged. Road closed due to accident, alternate route, exit 17. The signal was spotty, GPS was glitching, and I was too exhausted to hunt for another way. I just turned the wheel and hit the gas. The rain was a wall, like the sky was unloading its fury. After an hour of navigating foggy, muddy back roads that seemed to lead nowhere, I spotted a rusted sign by the roadside. Moonfield Motel, warm beds, free tea. Under the dim glow of my headlights, the letters looked like they were dissolving. I gave a bitter chuckle. Free tea in this mess felt like a trap, but my legs were lead, my eyes burned, and all I wanted was a place to crash. I pulled over and got out. The air was wet and frigid, like an icy hand clawing at my face. The motel was a 3-story husk, its peeling walls and murky windows looking like they'd never seen a good day. The front door, caked in rust, groaned open like a dying beast. Inside, the stench of rotting wood and something sickly sweet, like fruit left to fester under dirt, filled the air. The check-in desk was empty, save for an old brass bell. I rang it. The sound cut through the silence like a scream, and for a split second, I felt something in the building shift. Moments later, I heard soft footsteps, like fabric dragging across stone. A short old woman emerged from a back door. Her face was a maze of wrinkles, carved like a desert canyon. Her gray eyes glinted oddly, like moonlight on a swamp, but she wouldn't meet my gaze, staring instead at a spot on the wall. "Only one room left," she said. "Room 304. "Fine, that's the one," I replied. She slid a heavy metal key across the desk, its tag rusted and etched with 304, like it had been dug up from a grave. Before I turned toward the elevator, she she muttered, her voice low and hollow, "If you hear anything, don't get up. Just sleep." My heart skipped. Her tone wasn't a warning or fear. It was a cold certainty, like she knew something was coming and I couldn't stop it. I forced a smile to show I got it, but a strange chill slithered down my spine, like an icy finger tracing my back. I grabbed the key and headed for the elevator. The elevator was an ancient metal cage, its cracked plastic buttons looking a century old. I pressed the third floor. For a moment, it seemed to hesitate, as if asking, "You sure you want to go up there?" The doors opened with a wail. The third floor was dark, too dark. The ceiling lights were off, with only a faint, flickering glow from the end of the hall, like a candle dying in the wind. A low hum filled the air, not clear words, but like a broken radio stuck between stations, someone muttering just out of earshot. The hallway was narrow, the worn carpet crunching underfoot. The walls were streaked with brown stains, like dried blood no one bothered to clean. Room 304 was at the far end. The door wasn't locked. That was odd. I had the key in my hand, but it seemed I didn't need it. I turned the knob, and the door creaked open with a metallic scrape, like nails on a chalkboard. The room was freezing, bone-chillingly so. It felt like stepping into an ice cave. The window was shut, but an unseen breeze seemed to swirl through, like the breath of something alien. The heater was off, and when I flipped its switch, it just clicked uselessly. The cold wasn't normal. It was like someone standing right behind you, exhaling on your neck. The bed was a simple single, its thin sheets reeking of damp and dust. A rickety desk sat in the corner, and a filthy mirror hung on the wall, its smudges looking deliberate. Moonlight crept through the curtains, but it couldn't pierce the room's darkness. I didn't bother undressing, just collapsed onto the bed. The mattress felt damp, not with water, but a sticky moisture that clung to my skin. I don't know when I drifted off, but something in that room kept me from sinking fully into sleep. It was like a pair of eyes, somewhere in the dark, watching. Around 2 a.m., I jolted awake. My heart was racing, as if an invisible hand had yanked me from sleep. The room was pitch black, but not the usual kind. A heavy, living darkness that pressed on my chest. Then I heard it, click, tap, 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 from the closet in the corner. I held my breath. At first, I thought it might be from outside, maybe a branch hitting the window. But the sound came again, clearer, like bony fingers tapping on wood. I wanted to get up, to turn on the light, but the old woman's words looped in my head. "If you hear anything, don't get up." It was like a spell. My body locked up, as if a 100-pound weight had been dropped on my shoulders. The sound came again. Tap, tap, tap. This time a whisper joined it, soft and fractured from behind the closet door. "Come back. Come back. Why'd you leave?" The voice was childlike, but not innocent, laced with a suppressed rage, like someone grinding their teeth. My heart was tearing through my ribs. My voice choked in my throat. I burrowed under the blanket, like a kid hiding from a monster. The whispering stopped, but a new sound replaced it. A slow scratching like nails digging into wood, but deeper, like something was carving through it. I felt something getting closer from inside the closet. Not footsteps, not movement, just a presence, like knowing someone's in the room, but you can't see them. I squeezed my eyes shut, try not to breathe, try to convince myself it was just a dream. But then a breath. Not loud, not fast. Slow, deep, like someone savoring your scent in the air. Right above my head. I pulled the blanket tighter over my face. I don't know how, but I must have passed out, maybe from sheer terror. When I woke, sunlight was creeping through the curtains. The room was still, like nothing had ever happened. The closet door was shut, but when I got close, I caught a smell, wet earth and rotting flesh. I didn't open it. I didn't want to know what was inside. I grabbed my stuff and went downstairs to return the key. The old woman was gone. A young guy with messy hair and a stained shirt stood behind the desk. I said thanks. Weird night, but I survived. His smile vanished. His eyes widened, locking onto mine. Hold up, you said room 304. I nodded. His face tightened, like he was piecing something together. In a voice barely above a whisper, he said, that room's been sealed for years. No key, no handle, nothing. I laughed, thinking he was messing with me. What? I slept in it last night. The old lady gave me the key. His face went white as chalk. He gripped the desk, like he needed it to stay upright. We don't have an old lady working here. And that damn door, it doesn't lead to a room. The world spun. I stammered. I was in it. Bed, closet, mirror. He cut me off. Come see. I followed him upstairs. The hallway was the same, but when we reached the end, my heart stopped. There was no room 304. Just a wall, its paint flaking, with a rusted sign reading, no entry. No handle, no lock, nothing. Like a door had never existed. But on the wall, there was a fresh scratch, like claw marks gouged deep. This can't be, I whispered, my voice fading. The guy shrugged and said, some nights, that door shows up. You shouldn't have opened it. He turned and left, like he couldn't stand being in that hallway any longer. I bolted from the motel, but I felt something trailing me. Not a sound, not a shadow, just a weight like someone's breath on my neck. Since that night, I haven't slept right. Every time I close my eyes, I hear tap, tap, tap in my head. Sometimes when I'm alone, a whisper brushes my ear. Come back. Last week, I found a key in my coat pocket. The same rusted key, tagged with 304. I swear I returned it when I left. Now, every night before bed, I check my closet, because sometimes, just sometimes, I feel something inside it breathing. And worse, sometimes the door's cracked open, just a sliver, and I know I didn't leave it that way. My name's Tom Harvey, 38, a lawyer. That night, I was just a tired business traveler stuck in a dead-end motel off a North Dakota highway because my schedule got delayed. It was one of those old-school places frozen in the 80s, with rusted metal doors opening straight to the parking lot, reeking of burnt oil and wet asphalt. The wind howled through the lot, and the motel's neon sign buzzed and flickered every few seconds. All I wanted was a bed to crash in and vanish until morning. It was around 10 p.m. when I checked in. The lobby smelled of stale cigarettes and sour coffee. The clerk was a woman, maybe 50, with sunken eyes and gray hair, slapped into a messy bun. She slid the key across the counter and said in a voice like sandpaper, room 12. Left side of the hall. Just keep it quiet. The room next door's empty, but sound carries through the walls. I glanced at her. There was something in her lifeless eyes. Not fear, not irritation, but a deep exhaustion, like she was hiding a secret. I was too drained to care. I nodded, grabbed the key, a heavy metal one with a plastic tag scratched with the number 12, and headed to my room. The hallway was narrow and dim, lined with peeling green wallpaper speckled with brown stains, like dry blood. The ceiling bulbs cast a dirty yellow glow, and the carpet squelched under my feet, like it had just been hosed down. Room 12 was small and grim. The bed had a thin mattress that looked salvaged from an abandoned clinic. A scarred wooden desk sat in the corner, holding an old rotary phone caked in dust. The wall by the bed, the one shared with room 13, was flaking, with a long crack running from ceiling to floor, like an unhealed scar. The window had a grimy linen curtain that let the parking lot's light seep through, throwing shaky shadows on the wall. The room smelled odd. Not mold, not smoke, but something metallic like fresh blood. I took a shower. The water was cold and reeked of rust. Changed into sleep clothes and collapsed on the bed. The mattress creaked, and every time I shifted, it felt like the wall inched closer. I closed my eyes, but sleep wouldn't come. Something in the room's silence felt alive, like it was waiting for me to let my guard down. Around 1:30 a.m., a sound snapped me awake. It was soft but unmistakable, coming from the other side of the wall, from room 13. At first, I thought I was imagining it. The clerk had said the room was empty, but it came again, a dragging sound, like a wooden chair being pulled across the floor. Then, a faint scratching, broken and deliberate, as if someone was dragging a nail across the wall. It was right behind my head, where the bed pressed against the plaster. I held my breath and listened. My heart pounded, but I told myself it was probably a pipe or a late-night worker moving stuff. The sound didn't stop. Scratch, pause, scratch, pause. It had a rhythm, like a code. I sat up, staring at the wall. The crack in the plaster seemed to pulse in the dim light, like a vein. I felt something on the other side, something drawing closer. A dumb idea hit me. Maybe if I signaled back, the noise would stop. I tapped the wall with my finger. Tap, tap, tap. A second of silence followed, like the world was holding its breath. Then, from the other side, a response. Tap, tap, tap. Exact, like a mirror, but heavier, as if someone had knocked with their knuckles. Like they'd been waiting for me to make the first move. I froze. It was like an icy hand had clamped around my heart. I yanked my hand back, as if the wall could burn me. The room grew colder, not from temperature, but a chill that started in my soul. The scratching resumed, faster now, angrier. Then a new sound, a whisper, faint but close, as if someone was pressed against the wall, speaking through cracked lips. The words were muffled, but they felt like a curse, like rage bottled up for years. I grabbed the desk phone to call the front desk. I put to my ear, no dial tone. The little light on it didn't even flicker, like it wasn't plugged in. I snatched myself from the nightstand dead. Not low battery, not locked, just black, like a stone swallowing light. I jabbed the power button, but nothing. The wall felt like it was pressing in, like the room was choking me. The scratching now seemed to come from all over the wall, above, below, as if something was circling me. The whisper grew louder, and I caught one word, stay. My heart was in my throat. I decided to get out. I had to see what was happening in room 13. I grabbed the key, threw on my jacket, and opened the door. The hallway was darker than before, like the bulbs were dying. The metallic smell was stronger now, thick like an open wound. I reached room 13's door, right next to mine. I tried the handle, locked. I pushed a few times, but it wouldn't budge. My eyes drifted to the window beside the door. Thin curtains hung behind the glass, and the faint parking lot light revealed a shadow. A profile, crooked and broken, like a rag doll stitched wrong. I saw it for just a moment, head tilted, as if listening to the wall, or to me. I blinked, and it was gone, but I felt it was still there, just out of sight. I ran back to my room, locked the door, and dragged a splintered wooden chair to brace it. I sat on the bed, staring at the wall. The sound had stopped, but the silence was worse. It felt like something was waiting, sizing me up. Then a breath, soft, deep from inside the wall. Not human, like something mimicking a human. And then, I swear, the crack in the wall widened, just a fraction, like lips parting. I stayed there until dawn, curled on the bed, eyes locked on the wall. The moonlight from the window seemed to spotlight the plaster, as if making sure I saw it. The breathing came and went, each time closer. When the first rays of sunrise hit, the wall seemed to settle, the crack just a line again, not a wound. I grabbed my stuff and bolted to the lobby. The clerk was still there, but she looked like a shadow of herself. I slapped the key on the counter and said, something was in room 13 last night. Noises, whispers, a shadow. She looked at me, her eyes empty, like something inside her had died. She said, room 13's been locked for 2 years. A man in there took his life. Rope from the ceiling beam. Guests hear it sometimes, scratching, whispering. But if you don't answer, it just listens. My breath caught. I said, but I tapped the wall, and it answered. Her face turned to ice. Her lips trembled, and for a moment, I thought she'd run. She just said, "Then it knows you're there now." She grabbed the key and turned away, like she couldn't bear to look at me. Without another word, I got in my car and floored it. I swore I'd never stay in a motel again. Think you can sleep in an old motel, knowing something's listening behind the wall? Got the nerve to tap back. Share your own chilling tale with #WallListener and see how long you can last in the dead of night. Just remember, if you hear a reply, you're not alone anymore.